Many are apt to picture Spain in their imaginations as a soft southern region. On the contrary, for the greater part, it is a stern, melancholy country, invariably silent and lonesome. The Spanish landscape, inhuman scale and bleakness, observed in 1829, 1 year after Goya's death, by Washington Irving, American writer and minister to Spain. Francisco Goya viewed Spain from the vantage point of a painter to the royal court, and this is what he observed. The world is a masquerade. All wish to appear what they are not. Painting the masqueraders was Goya's job, but under his brush, real people emerged from their ribbon and tinsel disguise. It was a desperate time. This masquerader in huntsman's costume was Carlos IV, King of Spain. It's said that once every 24 hours he asked his villainous minister how things were going, and not waiting for an answer, went about his leisure for another day. His queen, they say, enlisted the same minister to father some of the royal children. North of the Pyrenees, the age of reason reigned. But in Spain, there was hunger and ignorance and corruption. And then Napoleon. Arthur Wellesley, terror gallorum, terror of the French. Arthur Wellesley, Duke of Wellington, sometime liberator of Madrid. But no liberation from misery, and enough terror for all. This I saw, said Francisco Goya. Andre Malraux said, Goya discovered his genius the day he gave up pleasing others. And he had pleased them. Goya had been ill, and now he was deaf. Inside his head, witches shrieked and nightmares unfolded. In the real world, monsters bred while reason slept and human folly reigned. But there were still portraits to be painted. A las 5 de la tarde. Eran las 5 en punto de la tarde. Un niño trajo la blanca sábana. A las 5 de la tarde. Una espuerta de cal ya prevenida. A las 5 de la tarde. At 5 in the afternoon, it was exactly 5 in the afternoon, a boy brought the white sheet. At 5 in the afternoon, a frail of lime ready prepared. At 5 in the afternoon, the rest was death, and death alone. At 5 in the afternoon, groups of silence in the corners at 5 in the afternoon, and the bull alone with a high heart at 5 in the afternoon, when the sweat of snow was coming at 5 in the afternoon, when the bull ring was covered in iodine at 5 in the afternoon, death laid eggs in the wound at 5 in the afternoon, at 5 in the afternoon, exactly at 5 o'clock in the afternoon.
Sea of light, city of dreams, a landscape for heroes, for cosmic visions and vast imaginings. Turner's mind and spirit claimed this uncharted territory as his own. It made of him a man not quite at ease in his own time and place. And it made his art a turning point, a redirection of the history of painting. Queen Victoria ascended the British throne and knighted certain respected artists. Joseph Mallard William Turner might have been Sir Joseph had he only conformed more consistently to contemporary standards and tastes. Instead, he remained Turner, member of the Royal Academy, designer of popular prints, a painter who received his share of commissions, but puzzling and unpredictable. A friend said of him, "I really do not understand his method of painting at all. His designs are grand, the effect in coloring natural, but his workmanship is the most abominable I ever saw, and some pieces of the picture you cannot make out at all." Turner was odd, saying unheard of things like, "Indistinctness is my forte," or "Always take advantage of an accident." More often than not, Turner would submit just a sketch on canvas to the Royal Academy's annual exhibition. A few days before the opening, When artists appeared in the exhibit hall to varnish their finished works, Turner also appeared, palette knife, fingers, and brushes, ready to create his work on the spot. A magician, performing his incantations in public. Oblivious to all who gathered to stare, he would work for hours without pause. The act of painting becoming the painting. And then, suddenly, this virtuoso performance would be over. The eccentric Mr. Turner would pack up and walk out without a word. The public at large had its fun with the performance and its results. Critics were even harsher. It is grievous to us to think of talent so mighty and so poetical running riot into such frenzies. The more grievous as we fear the talent is now past. The color, that of fireworks, rises almost to insanity and occasionally sinks to imbecility. He was far from a failure. Seascapes, landscapes, engravings, they sold. They gave him financial independence. It was just that, under this cloak of acceptability, Turner was an originator. And that left just a corner of his attention for the standards of the day. For example, the dog in this painting is a paper cutout added by another painter to give the work the obligatory focal point. Turner seemed to think it was not a bad idea, although he hadn't bothered to think of it himself. So he moved it a bit, touched it with dark paint, and left it. Turner moved toward the heart of his creativity through something that looked like Impressionism but wasn't and wouldn't be for another 30 years. Close to the realm that the action painters of the mid-20th century would claim for their own. Today, our eyes take Turner's discoveries for granted. From color and light, a new visual language. Shortly before his death, Turner was asked why a large white star had been blotted out from one of his prints. He laughed ironically and said, "The stars, in their ways, are beyond my control and responsibility."
Years ago, Paris entered her most diverting age. Dance halls, the ballet, the races, Faced with such a dazzling and pleasant way of life, artists sought truth on sunny terraces. Edgar Degas never considered himself an impressionist, but he joined their discussions, supported them, and exhibited with them most of his artistic life. He was searching for a new way of seeing. The camera was a thing to be explored in seeking that vision. Studying the work of photographers, tinkering with the camera himself, Degas concluded, to record the instant is photography and nothing more. The camera could freeze a second, but the painter brought to his art his feelings about the truth of that second. Still, a painting could never be just an instant in time to Degas. It was much more. It was an artificial work existing outside nature, and it requires as much cunning as the perpetration of a crime. Nothing in art must look like an accident, not even motion. Still searching for his special way of seeing, Degas studied the effects of light. He wrote in his diary, "Work a great deal with the effects of evening. Lamps, candles. The provocative thing is not to show the source of light, but the effect of light." Can it be said that the painter is found in the painted? Is it Degas' own melancholy, his wariness and withdrawal, which we see in his portraits? Melancholy and self-doubt haunted him, and nothing offered relief. Neither wealth nor the privileges of aristocratic birth, not even the gaiety of Paris. By his own admission, the most satisfying time of his life came early in his career, in Italy, where he painted portraits of his titled relatives. Not many years later came personal tragedy, the knowledge that he was slowly going blind. His cousin, Madame Renée Degas, knew only too well his sorrow, for an illness had taken her sight. As the years went on, Degas turned more and more to gouache and pastel. His subjects were dancers, figures so intensely observed when his sight was clear. His ability to see, at least with his inner eye, never left him. I thought there would always be time. What I did not do, what I was prevented from doing, I never, even in the middle of my worries, and in spite of my sick eyes, despaired of being able to do again some beautiful morning. said of me. Renoir. Never any serious painting, always enjoying himself. Well, enjoying yourself isn't so bad. Consider the Greeks, for instance. Wonderful people. Their life was so happy that they imagined the gods came down to earth to find heaven and love. Earth was heaven for the gods. That's what I want to paint.
France, the late 19th century. Auguste Renoir reflects on the art of painting.
Don't ask me if painting should be objective or subjective. There are those who give me reasons for putting red here and blue there in such and such a part of my canvas. I swear, these arguments drive me crazy. I'm always scared when young painters come to my house and ask me about the purpose of art. Painting is a difficult art. All the same, what we need is a little simplicity and honesty. It's hard to make people admit that a painting can be very great art and still be gay. People who laugh are not taken seriously. But now, listen to me. Painting is intended to decorate walls. As far as I'm concerned, it should be pleasant, joyous, and beautiful. Yes, beautiful. There are enough boring things in life without our having to create still more. Painting is not daydreaming. It's manual labor, and it takes a good workman to do it well. Of course, it's not enough for a painter to be a clever craftsman. He must love to caress his canvas, too. And we might see in a school. I'll say, I'm not talking, I'm getting nowhere.